Hello there, I'm Dark Shades, and I just wanted to touch base with you. I haven't touched base with you for a while, and so every now and then I think, oh, my subscribers are going to be wondering what's happened to me. And sometimes I concentrate so much on Black Bright news or the political sphere and the news that I forget sometimes people want to hear from me with regard to relationships. And sometimes it takes something that spurs me on. So today I decided to talk about, is it us or is it them? When I'm talking about us and them, I'm talking about the Black woman versus the Black man. And, it's quite pertinent since it's Black History Month. We're in October now. And that's not the reason why I decided to do this video. It was really because it really sometimes feels as though it's us against them. Sometimes I don't feel as though black men and women are a unified structure, are a unit. So I wrote down some notes, and I was thinking that now we have, especially today, we have so many women who are satisfied living alone, being alone. They genuinely don't have any interest in men. I used to think it was because they were just saying it. But as time passes, I realise that they genuinely cannot be bothered. That having a man for a lot of Black women is just not worth the hassle. It's just not worth the sacrifice. And we have to, if you're biblical, we go to the Bible, and we know that for those who believe in the Bible, that the rib was taken out so that a woman was a part of the man, and the two were to be joined together as one unit to work together. And okay, the woman sometimes gets up to mischief and leads the man astray, but by and large, the man and the woman were meant to bond from the beginning. So what's happened over time? We've had a series of situations. We've had the glory of the kings and the queens, the great kings and the queens, and a lot of trauma, a lot of wickedness, a lot of power struggles. We've had slavery, and we've been in, our ancestors has been in situations, including the war, that has separated men from women. And because it separated men from women, women have had to go it alone. They've had to be self-sufficient. And I know this sounds like repetition, but I'm hoping I'm going in a different direction this time. This is not to say that women go alone and think, oh, F you, I don't care whether or not I have a man. It's about being so self-sufficient that you wonder whether or not you actually need a man. I mean, apart from affection, intimacy, and maybe doing the heavy work, which you can employ people to do, women are saying, what do I need a man for? And that is sad when it comes to that, because what the purpose of a man has changed, and it's changed through circumstances most of all. It's changed because society, government has forced change. It has created situations where the Black man in particular has seems to have less to contribute if they're not privileged than the woman. The woman seems to be contributing more. So, and I think sometimes when I'm talking, I think I'm talking about the Black British male as opposed to the Black Caribbean male. There's different mentalities with blackness. There's different mentality with the Black British male, the Black African male, the Black Caribbean male, the Black American male. They're all different. But in England, we can only talk about the Black male, whether he's been influenced by other Black British males or what's kind of rubbed off on different men in this country. So how do most black women feel about relationships today? I'm looking at my notes. Most women I talk to genuinely can't be bothered with a relationship. Some like the idea of it, but when they think or recall what it entails, they find it overwhelming and prefer to stick it alone. Some singles say they don't want to die lonely or be on their own when they're old. But supposing you enter a relationship and your partner predeceases you, you're going to be on your own then, not unless you're going to find somebody else quickly. So that shouldn't be a criteria on to enter a relationship, really. Being in a relationship provides no guarantees that you will not die lonely, e.g. she or he, like I said, could die before you, predecease. Or they could leave you. You know, I always draw upon this what do you call it? This breakdown of a relationship that I witnessed, where this man was married to his wife for 40 years or so, could have been more. Children grown, left the home, and the wife thought she was settled with him. This was a white relationship. And he upped and left and married some solicitor half his age. They're still together. It's not like it was a fling. They're still together several years later. So nothing is written in stone. So the reason you enter a relationship has to be, first of all, of mutual benefit. And it has to be something that you want and something that you need. It can't just be just because. You know, society says, or, you know, I feel embarrassed if I don't have a man, or I feel as though people will think that that nobody wants me if I don't have a man. That can't be your reason for taking on a man. It has to be a genuine need. That man would have to be able to fulfill a need. What is the function or purpose for a relationship? In my eyes, it's to make life easier. Two heads are better than one. Two incomes, hopefully. Comfort when you need it. To raise a stable family. Learning how to integrate separate lifestyle. Raising a stable family, once again, it's relative whether or not the two individuals who have got together are stable and are in a position to raise a stable family. Sometimes you get people get together for years and two of them are unstable, and therefore they can't produce a stable family. So, but that's the ideal. Some women who are in a relationship think it's an accomplishment to have a man, but what do they need to keep the relationship stable? Are they to be responsible for their partner's heartbreaks, heartaches, insecurities? Is it okay to become an emotional punchbag for their partner's aggression and frustration? Do they have the wherewithal not to allow idiosyncrasies and flaws to affect their love for their partner? And on the more positive side, the positive attributes that a partner can bring into the relationship, like I said, stability, communication, sharing, support. So what aren't successful wives telling us? You know, you have people who say, boast, oh, I've been married 20 years, I've been married 30 years, I've been married 50 years. I remember my mother, she'd been married 50 years, and she said I would do it all over again. But her husband abused her. So what is that something to be proud of? To live a life in fear and being beaten, and then towards the end, okay, he's probably too old to do it, or he's changed his ways. But is the accomplishment overcoming all of those adversities, overcoming the beatings, talking through it, and actually changing that person around? Is that the accomplishment? When you're in a relationship, is the accomplishment of longitude, the length of the relationship, based on overcoming all of those things that have hurt you, that harm you, that betray you, and reaching a stage where the two of you are on the same plane. The two of you are now at a place where there's tranquility, peace, happiness, and that all of those bad incidences and experiences in the past are in the past. Is that the accomplishment? Is that why? You know, people who are in long relationships say, oh, I've been in for so long, you know, in a relationship for so long, and that is an achievement to overcome adversity. We know that that is what life is about, really. Life is about overcoming challenges and overcoming adversity, overcoming pain, and, you know, all of these things, these bad things. And that's, I guess, what relationships are about. Having the ability not to give up at the first hurdle, regardless. To me, the man hits me, I'm gone. With my mum, not the case. He hit her, she's still stuck around. So, yeah, I think maybe that's what it's about. Does that mean I'm not a good person? I'm not a stable person because I'm not going to stay around and take licks? Well, that means I'm unstable. I'm happy being unstable. Me not take my lick. Sorry, I ain't. So, yeah, that's one of the things I won't tolerate. You know, I'm not saying that if my partner was unfaithful, I wouldn't forgive him and all that kind of stuff. But there's certain boundaries, and that is what I'm not sure about when these women talk about how proud they are that they've managed to secure so many years, even though they know that their husband is not what they would like him to be. Is not as loyal, is not as kind, is not as supportive. But they stick with it. That is the accomplishment. So, so like I said, what are successful wives? And in successful, I put in quotes, telling us. They don't tell us about the sacrifices when they've been matched wrong. Is it about feeding them, housing them, giving them children? Is that enough for them? Loss of self. Some partners get morphed into the version their partner wants them to be. Is that the sacrifice that they make for the long relationship or the long marriage? What is the prize? Is the prize a booby prize? Like in the situation where that man left after 40 years and went with a younger model. She got the booby prize, didn't she? Because despite all that loyalty, raising kids, feeding feeding her husband, making the home look nice, he up and left. Do black women rise, or are they on the decline? Are men outdated? Very few are the person who brings home the bacon, unless they're celebrities, well off, privileged. Many are not motivated to escort you places. Many are not protecting you from harmful situations. Most women have to pay their way even though they are working and raising their kids into adulthood. Sex on demand, is that what relationships are about? Some men can't be bothered. Some men are tired. Some men are lazy. Some men want women to initiate and do all the work. So what's the incentive? I guess for people who have always been in relationships, the yearning for singledom doesn't enter their minds. Being in a relationship is all they know, and they have passed the test with flying colours. If they're celebrating their 25th, 35th, 45th, 55th, 60th anniversary. For newbies like myself, it is more difficult. 7 years of the single life, working myself silly, keeping myself busy, no one to tell me what to do, no one to tell me to slow down, you're moving too fast. Slow down, you move too fast. You gotta make this moment last, just picking up the cobblestones and looking for fun and feeling groovy. You know, I haven't got a voice. But yeah, that was Simon and Garfunkel, of course, 1966 hit. The name for it was the 59th Street song, but I always call it Feeling Groovy. But yeah, no one to stop me from getting myself in a tizzy and overworking. But being in a relationship now is I feel supported. It does work for me. So it's like I said, it all depends on what works. And if you can still be yourself within a relationship, you can be your true self within a relationship. You don't have to morph into what your partner wants you to be, then that's fine. But so many women, dumb themselves down and become the person that their husband wants as opposed to the person they want to be or they are. That's when it becomes, I'm not quite sure if being married for years is an accomplishment. So, is it really because in the eyes of the black British male, black women in the UK seem to have had an easier ride? Is it because the black British male has an expectation from the black woman because she appears to be doing well? Is it because there is a deep-rooted resentment against the black woman when she doesn't financially support her man? And this was in response to, I often wonder if it's them, i.e. the black British man, or if it's us, the black British women. Why relationships feel so fragile these days. So I admire those who have lasted the course and often wonder if it's, even though I'm in my latter years, whether I will last the course or whether I will give up midstream out of frustration and impatience. What's important? Is it important to accept the male perspective even if you don't agree? How important is it to make your black British man feel safe in a society where their environment is precarious? How important is it to selflessly nourish and support your black British male? What are the benefits of being self-sacrificial to make the relationship last? Loyalty? Well, that's questionable when you think of certain relationships where a woman is dedicated and the husband up and leaves. Endurance? Sticking it out regardless and still up and leave. Learning? I think that is one of the bonuses of sharing a life with someone. You're learning all the time. You're not learning just about the other person. You're learning about parts of yourself which you cannot do unless you're in a relationship. And growth. Growth is inevitable because once you're learning, you're going to become a better person, hopefully. So, that is really what I wanted to say. Is it them or is it us? I think it's neither. I think that it depends on where you are emotionally, psychologically, financially, and your experiences mainly, because you buck up on the right person and you can have a really wonderful life with someone. But if you've had bad experiences and you keep choosing or making poor choices, it's not going to fare well. If you're already in a relationship and you happen to choose somebody who is compatible with you and it works out to be a win-win, then good for you. Or if you're in a relationship and you're just in it because you're afraid to leave, you're afraid that you're nothing without your partner, then that's not good. Regardless, when you're in a relationship, you have to remain true to yourself. That's the most important thing. A man is not going to respect a woman, regardless of what they say, who's not true to themselves and who improvises and compromises themselves for them. They might go on like they like it, but they don't. So just make sure that whatever your choice is, you're true to yourself. You're not pretending. You're not pretending you want to be in a relationship when you don't. You're not in a relationship when you really don't want to be in one. And you're just being honest and true to yourself. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.